Hello, welcome to Inside the Summit League. We're at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls. North Dakota State has just moments ago won the Summit League Men's Basketball Championship. South Dakota State won the Women's Championship title earlier this afternoon. Both will find out now, Brad Newitt, this weekend where they play in the NCAA tournament. The men's selection show is coming up on Sunday. The women's selection show is Monday evening. And let's start with that. North Dakota State's men, we'll start with them. They were tied for the conference lead in the regular season this year. They win the tournament championship here. What seeding do you see them getting going into the big dance?
I think around the 14 line seems to be where most people have them slated in there, and I think South Dakota State would have been the same if they had won. And both of those teams have solid RPIs, not really high RPIs. Last year, North Dakota State got a 12 seed, but they had a much higher RPI than they do right now. All
right, if you believe in bracketology, ESPN's got them as a 14 seed playing Oklahoma, the team that they beat in the tournament last year. That would be exciting.
That would be exciting for North Dakota State. I would guess Oklahoma would not like to see that after the first round upset that the Bison pulled last year, of course.
All right, South Dakota State on the women's side. They are the tournament champions here. What do you see for them as far as the seed?
I think they might be more in the 13 to 12 line.
Really?
They had some really nice non-conference wins, especially winning at Arkansas. And Arkansas is a team that's kind of on the bubble right now, may get in, may not, out of the SEC. And South Dakota State's playing really good basketball here down the stretch. I think that's something that will also catch the committee's eye. All
right, the bracketology projection had them playing Baylor in Waco, Texas, home of Baylor. And then go back to 2009, that's where South Dakota State lost to Baylor by 2 in the NCAA tournament. But North Dakota State's men, they'll find out Sunday who they play, and South Dakota State's women will find out on Monday evening who they will play in the NCAA tournament coming up. We will recap both tournaments here in a little bit, but first, the top 10 plays of the season in Summit League basketball. Here is David Brown and Alex Heiner.
There's some great plays this year.
Yeah, there were a lot of great plays to choose from. We've picked, though, the top 10 from men's and women's basketball this season in the Summit. Let's take a look.
All right, let's start off with number 10. This is a toy Jackson from Oral Roberts. Yeah, she's going to toy with Rachel Reinhardt here. Ooh. That may be a fake, but I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. That was for real. Look at it again. Ooh, boy. Outcast would be proud of a toy Jackson at 10.
To Brookings, it's SDSU's Macy Miller off the tush against Wisconsin Green Bay. I looked it up. She was credited with the assist.
She's just filling the stat line.
More inbounds shenanigans here. Omaha's Lanice Bow, with nothing on the shot clock, goes off the back and drains the jumper.
Lesson, never have your back to the ball. Indeed. Ashley Luke's number 5, Vicky McIntyre 6'7". This is play 8. That takes skill. Multiple fakes from Ashley Luke to get it over the Summit League's tallest player from Oral Roberts, but still not a tall task for the great leatherneck Ashley Luke.
Yeah, putting it up. Giving him 6 inches there. Now the delicious dish portion of the program. Marcus Bird with the find here to the Duke Douglas on the jam. And then it's SDSU's George Marshall, the one-handed feed to Cody Larson on the baseline.
That was delicious.
Emphatic, yes it was, indeed. One more for you. Fort Wayne here on the break. It's Max Landis. Nice no-look pass to Isaiah McCray in traffic with the two-handed jam for the Mastodons.
Bounce on the floor, bounce up top. Number 6, South Dakota State, Mariah Claren. Chasing down the loose ball, makes the pass from her keister to Kara Young for the lay-in against Fort Wayne. Mariah Claren's not Mariah Carey, but that was honey.
Indeed. Indeed it was, Dave. More SDSU here. DeAndre Parks on the drive. Oh, no, wait! Cam Griffin with the block off the glass. One Cam highlight, not enough.
I know his name's probably short for Cameron, but it might as well be short for camera, because he's always on. He's going to give the camera a look right there.
This guy is out of this gym more often than not here to slam against USD, and like you said, showing a little love to the cameraman.
Number 4, Omaha CJ Carter with a spin. Might as well be DJ Carter with that. To Trayshawn Thurman for the slam. Brandon Boss from USD, not acting like one. He got schooled there by the Mavericks, Mr. Heiner.
At number 3, though, it's South Dakota down 3 against Creighton with time running out. Tyler Larson, they don't foul. Larson nails the triple to send this game into overtime. The Oats would fall to the Blue Jays in double OT, but this still one to remember from the first team All-Summit Leaguer.
Yeah, thanks actually for not fouling Craig McDermott. Otherwise, we wouldn't have played number 3.
Exactly.
Which was this 3. Number 2, Corey Brown of North Dakota State. Behind the back. And then he's going to sky.
Marcus Tyus, look out!
Oh, but they called the charge. How do you do that? We're still putting this at play number 2 because it was so awesome. He's going to make up for it later in the year against USD. He's Corey Brown, should change his name to Corey Blue because he lives in the sky.
That is a man's slam dunk right there, friends. And finally, number 1, Morendi SU Denver now tied at 60. Dying moments of the game. Lawrence Alexander with 3 seconds remaining nails the three.
Game over. That was
you
great.
would think so, but they left a little bit too much time on the clock for Brett Olson.
No.
The heat from half court, and he gets it. Magnus Arena going crazy. Look at it again from the top here, Dave.
They should have fouled down 3-2, but again, we're happy that they didn't. Because otherwise, we wouldn't get that great half quarter. They lost an OT, but still, let's go, Brett Olson.
Yeah, that is great stuff from 2 of the Summit League's best, and Olson and Alexander, the top play from the Summit League in 2014-2015.
Well, coming up next, cool video tricks and high production values in the road to the Falls, and the rundown on the trail to the title game in the Summit League men's basketball tournament coming up next.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Inside the Summit League. We had at Midco Sports Network this year the honor again of televising the quarterfinal round and the semifinal round of the Summit League Basketball Championships. Our guys toured the Midwest prior to that and visited every Summit League city, and they put together this piece that ran on the big board here at the Premier Center in Sioux Falls.
From across the miles, far from home, they have come. Whether from brickyards or big cities, it all comes down to here and now. Mile-high aspirations and dreams add fuel to the fire. Hard work and history hone both spirit and skills. School pride is the heartbeat. Winning is the goal. The time has come to bring out the best. To shine bright under the big lights. To fight back winter's cold and howl in victory. Because now, the pinnacle is within reach. At the summit, a champion's crown awaits. But there's only room for one at the top. Midco Sports Network presents the Summit League at the Falls. Who's it gonna be?
All right, even your son Sam thought that thing was pretty cool, didn't he?
He loved that thing. He couldn't get enough of it. He said, "Hey, Dad, did you see that open?" Yes, Sam, I saw it. It was an awesome open. Highlighting all the schools and going to their campuses, that was super, super neat.
All right, let's go through the men's tournament here. We'll start with the quarterfinal games. And South Dakota State took on Western Illinois. The Jackrabbits, the #1 seed this year. They got the nod over North Dakota State, the #2 seed. But South Dakota State comes out and blitzes Western Illinois 87-50. It was 50-21 at halftime.
Yeah, South Dakota State came out firing on all cylinders on the offensive end. They ended up hitting 12 threes in that game and just really rode that to the easy victory over the Leathernecks. J.C.
Fuller had 19 for Western Illinois. Garrett Covington held to 13, just 3 of those coming in the second half as South Dakota State wins by 37 to move on. North Dakota State, the 2 seed, beats Denver 61-50 in the first round. Brett Olson had 24 for the Pioneers, and Denver was ahead by 4 at halftime.
And that wasn't a surprise. Denver had played North Dakota State very close during the regular season, had lost in 2 times to them in overtime games. The Bison, though, had enough in the end with A.J. Jacobson scoring 23 to get the job done.
Yeah, this looked like it was going to be close to the end, but the Bison pulled out 61-50 to move on. South Dakota, the 5 seed, this was the only upset, I guess you could call it, in the first round as they beat Fort Wayne 82-73. Coyotes got out to a great start in this one. They led by 19 at halftime.
I thought the key for South Dakota was neutralizing Steve Forbes in the middle. Great job by James Hunter defensively shutting him down. And then Brandon Boss, what can you say, 29 points, a career high.
Boss had 19 in the first half as the Coyotes got out to the early lead. Steve Forbes had 14 for Fort Wayne, and James Hunter, as you said, a career high 16 in that one for South Dakota as the Coyotes advance. And then the final quarterfinal game for the men. Oral Roberts over IUPUI 58-56. Kufu Naji had 15 for the Jaguars. Obi Emegano 14. He was 2 of 10 from the field, but 9 of 10 at the free throw line, and Oral Roberts wins by 2.
Just enough for Oral Roberts to get over the hump, and it was the free throws that did it for him. But I thought it was a great effort by IUPUI. They did a nice job defensively shutting down Oral Roberts and made it a tough win for them.
All right, on to the semifinals, and South Dakota State taking on South Dakota. In one of them, the Jackrabbits, as well as South Dakota, the Coyotes shot in that win over Fort Wayne in the first round, could not make a basket in this one. South Dakota State gets out to a 19-point lead at halftime.
Yeah, South Dakota State, again, hitting on all cylinders offensively, hit 11 threes in this game, and then did a really nice job defending USD's transition game and limiting the open floor for South Dakota.
Jackrabbits had 8 of those three-pointers in the first half. DeAndre Parks with 21. Tyler Larson had 19 points, 10 rebounds for the Coyotes, but South Dakota State gets into the championship game. And on the other side of the bracket, North Dakota State over Oral Roberts 60-56 in another tight game that North Dakota State wins.
Wasn't that the theme of their season?
Yes.
I mean, they won close games all year long and found ways to get it done. And when it mattered, Lawrence Alexander, 2 huge defensive plays down the stretch to get that win for North Dakota State.
He makes a block at the end, gets a couple of free throws. Obi Emegano, again, 25 points for Oral Roberts. He was 11 of 13 at the free throw line, got himself there. Carlin Dupree played very well for North Dakota State with 13.
He really did. And he was very efficient. 6 of 7 from the field, and they needed another score to come along. Alexander in that game, and it was Dupree.
All right, South Dakota State and North Dakota State in the men's championship here on Tuesday evening. And this game was awful. Honestly, in the first half, nobody could make a shot, especially South Dakota State. It ends up 23-23 at halftime.
You're just saying that because you love offense. If you love defense, this was a great game. But
it was bad offense.
It was. These teams did struggle getting in any sort of rhythm. You could tell the nerves were there a little bit. They didn't shoot the ball with maybe a lot of confidence. And foul trouble for South Dakota State limited Cody Larson in the first half. I thought that's why they really struggled in the first 20.
North Dakota State got out to a 9-point lead late in the second half. Bison missed some free throws at the end, gave South Dakota State a chance. The Jackrabbits actually had a shot to win it at the end, but could not get a shot down again in this game.
They could not, especially when they really, really needed one. Their guard play just wasn't there. You look at what, DeAndre Parks, George Marshall, kind of their 2 main scorers in the perimeter. They just want to combine 7 of 26.
Player of the year took over, though. Lawrence Alexander, a couple of big threes in that run for North Dakota State in the second half. He ends up with 25.
Yeah, he was huge. Great players are what win you championships, and it was Lawrence Alexander showing why he was the player of the year on the men's side. 6 of 9 from three-point. And getting those 25 points.
All right, Bison win at 57-56. And again, North Dakota State will find out this Sunday at the selection show, see where they will play in the NCAA tournament again this season as they go back-to-back on the men's side. All right, the women's tournament breakdown and rundown. We'll go through it all when we come back on Inside the Summit League.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Inside the Summit League, the Women's Basketball Championship. The title goes to South Dakota State over South Dakota. Here's how they got there, Brad Newitt. Let's start with the quarterfinals. South Dakota, the #1 seed, gets by Fort Wayne 78-70. Haley Seibert, 21 points in this one. She ends up the school's all-time leader in free throw percentage and 3-point field goal percentage. But Nicole Seekamp, 25 in that one as the Coyotes move on. South Dakota State, the 2 seed, gets by Denver 79-61.
Tale of 2 halves for South Dakota State in that one. They really struggled offensively in the first half, but then got it cooking in the second half and rode that momentum to the win.
Other side was IUPUI taking on Western Illinois, 66-59. Jaguars win this one. 20 points, 12 rebounds for Ashley Luke. Nevin Markovic, though, had 22, hit some big shots late for IUPUI as they win that one by 7. And then Oral Roberts over North Dakota State, 71-58. Brooke Lamar had 29. Took her a while to get going, had 22 of those in the second half. Vicky McIntyre, 18 points and 9 rebounds.
Well, but McIntyre was the difference in that game. She controlled the paint, controlled the rebounding, and that's why Oral Roberts won.
And she had a huge game in the second round in the semis. In the semis, South Dakota over IUPUI 69-58. Jenna Gunn had 11 off the bench for IUPUI. The Jaguars kept it close against the #1 seed. Nicole Seekamp, though, another good game for her, 23 points, and the Coyotes win at 69-58. On the other side, South Dakota State against Oral Roberts, a strange game. Oral Roberts was up by 5 at halftime, but Toy Jackson hit 3 right at the halftime buzzer. McIntyre, the first triple-double in Women's Summit League tournament history.
She played a fantastic game, did everything she could do to contribute to try to get Oral Roberts the win, but it was just too much Jackrabbits down the stretch with big plays when they really needed it.
McIntyre played every minute of that game. Oral Roberts just 16 points in the second half, though. They only made 4 shots, and South Dakota State comes back to win at 59-48. In the tournament championship, South Dakota State and South Dakota Coyotes chilly to start the ball game, to say the least. They go 4 of 30 from the field in the first half. South Dakota State gets out to a big start and rides that all the way through.
They really did. They came out of the locker room ready to go hit 9 of their first 10 shots, rode that momentum all the way through. The margin ends up 15, but the game was not that close. Nicole
Seekamp was named the tournament most valuable player. She had 21 in this one, 17 of those coming in the second half. Macy Miller, 19 for South Dakota State. She set a new South Dakota State freshman scoring record this year as the Jackrabbits go on to the NCAA tournament now with a 72-57 win in the Summit League Championship. Well, up next, how does the Summit League basketball tournament compare to other tournaments around the country? Hear from the man who runs all of the tournaments after this.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Inside the Summit League. Mark Lewis is the Vice President of Championships for the NCAA. He oversees all the league basketball tournaments leading up to the big dance. He was here this week, and here's what he had to say about the setup for the tournament here in Sioux Falls.
Well, you know, I think it's a competitive conference, number one. And when you talk about what conferences are supposed to do, they're supposed to build rivalries. And I think the natural rivalries that are in the conference are obvious. I think that the schools complement one another in terms of where they stand as universities, what they stand for and represent. And it's clear that they enjoy each other's company, but they all want to beat each other. And that's what you look for in a conference. So I think the Summit League's doing pretty good. This new building is incredible. That's the only word to describe it. It is just first class in everything. The facilities for the players, the participants, student athletes are incredible behind the scenes, the locker rooms, the amenities, the training rooms. And then when you look at what the spectators have, all of the access to sort of open area, the light, the concession stands, it's as good as any facility that I've seen in this country or elsewhere.
All right, Brad, Sioux Falls has been awarded the Women's Regional Tournament for next year in 2016. That's the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, with the winner going to the Final Four on the women's side.
Well, that's a huge get for the city of Sioux Falls and for this facility, and they're hoping that will propel them into maybe getting something on the men's side down the road.
All right, the South Dakota State women and the North Dakota State men will not be the only Summit League schools playing basketball in the postseason. We'll talk about that next, and the sights and sounds of the Summit League tournament, a video tribute to the teams coming up next.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort and Dakota Land Honda. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Health, your Heartland Chevy team dealers, and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
All right, welcome back to the show. South Dakota State's women, North Dakota State's men are headed to the NCAA tournament in basketball. There are opportunities coming up possibly for other Summit League teams to play in the postseason.
Well, for sure. On the women's side, South Dakota's women have a great chance of making the WNIT. They've had a fantastic season, only 7 losses, and obviously winning the regular season helps them. And then you flip it onto the men's side, Tom. South Dakota State for sure in the men's NIT. That is guaranteed them by obtaining the #1 seed in the Summit League tournament.
All right, there's the College Insider Tournament. Fort Wayne and Omaha played in that last year, a possibility there. And the CBI, South Dakota State's men played in there, so there's other opportunities for the men's team coming up as well. We go out this week with a video montage put together by our Midco Sports Network production crew from the basketball championships. We'll see you next week. Go. Get it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.